Monica, can you able to hear me?
Hello, sir.
Hi. Can you able to hear me?
Yes, sir, I can hear you, sir.
Okay. I'll just
Good
share.
evening, sir.
Good evening. Hi. Monica. Okay. I'll just share my slides. Let's see whether it's working and moving. Can you just give me permission to share my slides?
Yes, sir. Sir, can you please check, sir?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. The screen is visible, sir.
Okay. Is it visible? Okay. Is it moving?
Sir, can you make it full screen, sir?
1 second. Okay. Is it moving?
Not yet, sir.
So my first slide is visible.
The slide that is being shown, sir, this is children, the mean and derived nasal value for oral and nasal sentence across the group.
I moved on.
This is probably slide number 10 for use. Yeah, this is the first slide. Clinical application of nasometry. Now you're trying to full screen it, sir.
Yeah. Now can you see?
I think there is a lag that is going on. Just give us some time, sir.
Okay.
So is it full screen in your device, sir?
Yeah. It's there in full screen.
I don't know, but in Zoom it's
not coming.
Full screen. Sir, can you try this one from the top menu bar slideshow?
Yeah.
And then make the full screen once again, sir.
Yeah. I'll just one second.
Same with the
Is it coming now?
No, sir. Sir, at the top left-hand corner, you have home, insert, design, animation, and slideshow, sir.
1 second. 1 second. I'm not getting anything of such sort.
It shows that you have slideshow included, but sir, is this like Microsoft PowerPoint 365?
No, it is 2007. It's not 365.
Okay, this could be one of the reasons, sir. This could be one of the reasons because of which it is like showing that kind of a thing. So, okay, sir, can you browse to the other slides? I think even if they are not full screen, but still they are kind of visible.
Okay, 1 second. Is it moving? I moved to the second slide. Second slide has come.
Not yet, sir. Yes, sir. Presentation now it is full screen, sir. Introduction, background.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Introduction.
Is it moving now?
Yes, sir. This is full screen and it's there, sir.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I'm okay. 1 second. Second slide. Did you get it?
Presentation cover, sir.
Yes. Introduction.
Introduction. Active nasality.
It's moving. Yeah.
Nasality assessment. Background and nasalence.
Okay. Good. I think it's moving.
Yes, sir.
You are getting all the slides, right, with pictures?
Right, sir. Sir, just one observation from my end, sir. When you are changing the slides, sir, just give like 1-2 seconds to get, I think, updated.
Okay.
And then you can start speaking. Then the things are pretty much clear, sir.
No. It's for only for testing purpose. I'm changing the slides immediately. Otherwise, the slides will stay.
Right, sir.
Okay. Yeah. It's moving, right?
Yes, sir. Nasalence is an acoustic measure that has gained widespread acceptance as a diagnostic correlate.
Yeah. So I think first you are going to have a talk by the company person, right?
I think so, sir. I'll just confirm because I'm into the technical part, sir. So
Okay.
there are other members who will be there to introduce and do the formalities. So I'll just cross-check once with them and then I'll update you, sir.
Yeah. I'll just put my video on speaker on mute mode.
Yes, sir. Or you can, sir, put the first slide, title slide, full screen on the page, sir, also.
Okay.
So, sir, I'm just making myself mute. So if there are any information that I get, I'll just definitely update you either on WhatsApp or on, sir, directly on Zoom, sir.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, sir, it's not yet full screen. So yeah, it's full screen now. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Good evening, Mainak sir. Am I audible?
Yes, Arpita, you are audible.
Sir, I would be introducing the speaker and Prakash sir uh, in the beginning, followed by Shalini will be accommodating the question answer round.
I think, Arpita, I'm giving you a call. I can't hear properly. Wait a second.
नहीं हो किचन में तो बैठन का Peliola.
योर वीडियो स्टॉपेड कैसे हो गई?
Very good evening to everybody. Am I audible? Hello.
Yes, ma'am, you're audible.
Thank you, Shalini. So, very good evening to everyone, and welcome to the next presentation of webinars series of IAAA SLP. We would like to thank Auditovo and K-Pentax for their collaboration along with AYJ and ISHD. Our scientific program today, the speaker is Dr. R. Gopi Shankar. Sir is research officer in Aish, Mysuru. Sir has done his PhD in speech language pathology. Sir is serving as a team member for structural orofacial anomalies, USOFA and voice clinic. Sir has over more than 10 national and international publications. He has more than 3 book publications. He also has publications and proceedings of around 7. He has presented in various platforms of more than 27 research presentations and lectures, which are more than 25. Sir has also done many research projects, and he has served as reviewer for Journal of the Cleft Palate Craniofacial Journal. He has also done short courses of around 3. Sir has also been facilitated with awards and honors for his culinary work in the field of speech and hearing. I would like to invite Sir for today's topic on clinical application of nasometry. Sir, you are more than welcome. Can you start your presentation, sir?
Thank you, Arpita. I was told that Mr. Prakash will be talking before my talk. Is it going to be like that, or I can continue?
Sir, we can do it at the end, as IC sir has told us.
Okay, fine.
Right, sir.
I'll just
kindly continue, sir.
Yeah, I'll just share my presentation. Just a second. Is my slides are visible?
Yes, sir. Yes, absolutely.
Is it moving?
Yes, sir. It's moving also.
Okay, yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Arpita, for that introduction, a short introduction. And good evening, everyone. I know it's a pleasure, present a topic which I like the most, and it's a clinical application of nasometry addressing the West Bengal branch. It's always a privilege to talk about the topic to our local, professionals, across the country. So this nasometry and applications been, not touched upon, most of the places, though it has been there from 1985, and in India it's getting amount of importance because of various reasons. Okay, and I would say the prominent reason would be the RPWD Act, which was 2016. It's been implemented. The cleft palate individuals get some benefit or maximum benefit from the government. As a professionals, when we do, most of the time we believe in going for a perceptual evaluation using a that we consider as a gold standard. But however, to be on a safer side, we should also have some amount of quantitative and qualitative assessment to identify the right candidate for providing a disability certificate. Considering that fact, I do agree and understand that everybody would understand what is cleft lip palate and how that is going to have. So my presentation would cover on a small introduction about what is VPD. It's a very brief one. I'm not going to talk much on how the normal production and other things, and how the whole measurement of nasalence have evolved, and what is nasalence, and what is the instrumentation we generally use, on what all available instrument what we have it, and what procedure we follow. Most of the time what we do is, when we have an instrumentation, and there are certain protocol to be followed in any instrument we use it. So I'd be talking about the procedures, how we have to do, and stimuli used in when we talk about nasometry. Stimuli plays a major role, because India is a multicultural and a diverse country, and phonetically and phonemically it is different across the state, and across even the district sometime. So we need to have a proper stimuli before we properly use nasometer. So I will be touching upon how to develop a stimuli and what are the available stimuli we have in India, and some of the assessment protocol which is used in Western culture. I'm just going to talk about camera, snap assessment, and what we follow at AISH, which can give you guidelines if you want to use it in a hospital setup or your clinical setups. It can give you some idea and some new concept. What is nasal and distance and nasal ratio? How to interpret these data? Because ultimately, when we do, finally, what we need to know is how to interpret these data. And also, what are the variables which generally affect the nasalence and applications, and some of the normative which is available or which I have come across in this presentation. Let's move on to introduction. So as we know, resonance evaluation, when we do, we always talk about the velopharyngeal closure. If something is happening at the level of velum, if it doesn't happen, so if the air is escaping through the velum or velopharyngeal port doesn't close properly, we tend to perceive hypernasality. Okay, and these are measured using a nasalence scores. Okay, it's a part of it's a very, very important assessment protocol when we do a resonant assessment, especially in children with cleft lip and palate and adult with velopharyngeal dysfunction or velar paralysis conditions. So predominantly we see two types of errors or resonant characteristics, this hypernasality and nasal air emission. When we talk about hypernasality, we know it's a excessive presence of the nasal sound production. Usually it is seen in production of vowels. So excessive energy which is absorbed or the sound comes through nose, we call it as hypernasality technically. And nasal air emission. These are the two important things predominantly when we see in the mentioned patient. So when we talk about nasal air emission, when there are certain particular sound, we call it as when we use high pressure consonants. So we kind of tend to get a puff count audible emission of air. Okay, that's named as nasal air emission. Though you are aware, I'm just introducing this, whoever is not there, if the students are there, just for their information. So we generally see hypernasality and nasal air emission when we are going for a resonance assessment. So when we move on to nasality assessment, we know very well that perceptual assessment is a gold standard. There is no doubt on that, because that's most easiest thing to do. Again, currently what's happening is our ear training is very, very important to listen to what kind of population we are going to deal with it. So even when you do perceptual evaluation, children with cleft lip and palate, some amount of training is required to have conducting an assessment in perceptual evaluation. And there are some protocols which need to be followed, which I'm not going to in great detail on such perceptual assessment. However, when we go to objective measurements, the nasometry is the only tool currently it is available in the market. Okay, so what is nasometer? Background, if we go on to background and nasalence. So most of the time, nasometer is used to measure nasalence or hypernasality. Okay, so it's a device that separates our oral and nasal energy using a separation plate. So generally it is calculated using a formula which is nasal energy divided by nasal energy plus oral energy. It is 100. This is a basic formula where it is used. It is all automatically used. Nothing, we don't have to do anything. We just have to give the stimuli and the instrument will give us the information on the nasalence. So what is this nasalence? When we talk about nasalence, a little bit of theory, we should understand why this is required, because most of the time when we use it, nasalence or nasometry, we should know how actually the equipment works. Okay, because the nasalence measures are widely used all over the country and all over the world. So it's nothing but it's a diagnostic correlation of perceived oral nasal resonant balance. Okay, that's all, how our oral sounds are and nasal sounds are perceived. Okay, that's why it's called perceived nasalence. Okay, so how we are perceiving based on that. Okay, when we do it, how usually this equipment, what the equipment does is the equipments may not know which is oral sound and nasal sound. So basically we have to tell the equipment which is the oral sound and which is the nasal sound. So what do they do when they are manufacturing or when you are designing such devices, any devices? Okay, they target or they fix the bandwidth filters in the range of 300 to 500 hertz. Why this 300 to 500 hertz in the acoustic spectrum? Because most of these sounds, whatever oral sounds we use it, that spread across the spectrum when we see spectrogram. However, in case of this nasal energy, it is a low frequency energy or low frequency noise which dampens our entire speech spectrum. These low frequency noises are picked up in the lower range when we talk about the spectrum. Okay, that's why the filters are fixed in such a way that if you go across the instrument, it is fixed between 350 to 600 hertz. It's assess only that particular area where the energy is spread, and it calculates and gives. Okay, so most of the time the formant frequency, when we say in nasalized speech, the formant frequency or the intensity is dampened. Okay, that is what I mean when we talk about a spectrogram. The nasal energy at the low frequencies are focused, and those are analyzed when we are targeting a sound for oral and nasal coupling. Okay, or in the resonance evaluation. So moving on to the instrument, there are several instruments available commercially, which is available. There are 4 commercially available instruments. The well-known Nasometry, that is by Cape Pentax or Pentax Medical Company. It has range of models. They have 6,200, 6,400, 6,450, and 6,500. The 6,500 is the latest model, and it is more advanced version. It's a standalone device. Okay, and there is another equipment, which instrument is available, Nasal View by Dr. Speech. Again, it's a US product. Then another one is Nasal Visualization System by Glottal Enterprises. Okay, then Ross Medical Solution Limited, UK, they have come up with IC Speech Portable Nasometer. These are the 4 nasometer which are available commercially for you purchase. Okay, so just a glimpse of how different nasometers. The first one what you have is the nasometer. What you see, it's all are PC based. Okay, and the second one is what we have is it's a nasal view. Nasal view by Dr. Speech. Okay, again you have any equipment, you'll have a nasal and some oral mic and nasal mic with the separator plate, and we have a preamplifier which is connected to our system. Okay, and the third and fourth one is nasal visualization system. Again, that also have some amount of similar, all are similar. You will have a nasal plate, nasal mic and oral mic with the separation plate. Okay, and all these will have independent software to analyze for whatever area which we are interested to. Okay, it gives a nasal lens value, it gives a nasal emission value, some all the principles are, all the 4 equipment principles are same, but what they give, how they process, that also the principles are same. Only thing is how it is represented. It's based on their model and based on their design. Okay, so let's move on to this nasometer. When we talk about nasometer, what you are seeing in the display is the left-sided one is the previous version of nasometer, where you have a box and you have a headgear. Okay, and the processing software. Here the only disadvantages is here is you have to calibrate this nasometer every time. Okay, what you are seeing for your right side, that is 6,500 nasometer, which is the latest model. Okay, which it is a standalone device which you need not to calibrate every time. Okay, that is an advantages of having the recent version. And previous ones, if you are going for screening and other things, you may not be able to carry this particular equipment because you have to calibrate it, and it is little heavier, bulkier. But the current one is, it's much more easier, and you can carry it and you can install it in your laptop and you can use it. Okay, wherever you are going, and you can use it. Okay, that is the only advantages over the older version and the newest version. And I'm lucky to use almost all the versions of nasometer by Pentax. And this is how the patients are seated. If you see previously, the previous versions, it has a headgear where it has been fixed, and they have to how it is depicted in the picture. But current versions are handled. So whenever you wanted to use it, you use it. Then you can ask the patient to relax, and we can use it. The right-sided picture, it indicates how the current version is. Okay. Okay, when we talk about the procedures, you have to ask the patient to be seated comfortably. Okay, and you can give the plate and ask them to read the sentences, and you will be ask them to read for a certain decided stimuli and parameters. Whatever protocol you have to ask them to read it in a slower manner. And if you want to repeat them, you can ask them to repeat it for better analysis. Usually what we do is we should ask them to go for 3 repetition tasks if it is vowel and CV combinations, and oral sentences and nasal sentences, we go for only 1 recording task because it takes time. So it's better for vowels and consonants, we can go for 3 repetition tasks, and other things we can go for single reading tasks. Okay, what are the stimuli which can be used? I think as per protocols, whatever is used in Western thing, there are a list of stimuli which we need to follow when we use nasometer. That is high versus low pressure vowels, high versus low pressure consonants, words and sentences, single words, CV syllable, sustained vowel. These are the combinations which you can select based on your need and requirement for your clinic or hospital, and wherever setup you are interested in, and what outcome you wanted to derive from your assessment. Okay, based on that, you can have 1 or 2 combinations, or you can have most of the thing. Okay, and picture with pressure consonants, oral versus nasal consonants, or oral with word sentences and paragraphs. Okay, and in Western context, most of the time they uses zoo passages, which was traditionally used to assess nasal ends. Because zoo passages, the percentage of nasal consonant it's 0. Okay, that's why it is used. It's consisted of 83 syllable length and obtained valid and stable measure. That's why in Western context they use zoo passages, because it doesn't have nasal consonants at all. Because we are interested to measure the nasal ends, so there is no nasal consonants in this passage, we would be getting a better scores of nasal ends. Okay. And in rainbow passages consist of 11% nasal ends, and nasal sentences consist of 30% nasal ends. So stimuli, if you want to give some example, what is low stimuli, no nasal ends and high nasal ends? When you talk about oral sentences, if you see in the particular sentence, baby bought a ball, which is, you don't find it nasal consonant at all here. Okay, whereas in nasal sentences, if you see, most of the nasal sounds are present. Okay, my name is Meena, or whatever sentences you are aware. Okay, so when we go for nasal ends measurement, you have to do oral sentences and nasal sentences. Both need to be done irrespective of any languages. Okay. So there are some standardized stimuli available for Indian languages. This just for your information I'm giving you. We have it in Kannada, which is again standardized sentences. Okay, it is like this. You need to have at least a minimum of 5 sentences consisting of pataka or badaga or whatever is there convenient. Similarly, you need to have 5 nasal sentences consist of man. Okay, this is for Kannada, what we have it, and we use it regularly in our clinic. Similarly, oral paragraph in Kannada, and we have nasal paragraph also in Kannada. And for other languages, we have it in Hindi. Hindi also we have oral sentences, nasal sentences, and oral paragraph and nasal paragraph. These all are validated, and you can, if you are using a Hindi patients directly, you can take these sentences, you can start using it in your clinic. Similarly, we have passages in Malayalam stimuli, words and sentences. I mean, even in Telugu, we have stimuli. Almost South Indian languages, we have it. As far as I know, what I got to know, in Bengali, there is one study which I found by, I think, Suman Kumar published in Asia Pacific Journal of Speech, Language and Hearing, 2012. that's a passage which I have put it, oral passage in nasal passages, which is available, okay, for nasal ends in Bengali language. And another protocol which is widely accepted and used by ANCOMR protocol, that's called Simplified Nasometric Assessment Procedure Test. It's called as shortly SNAP test. Okay, in SNAP test, what do? Is they do 3 tasks, that is repetition of isolated vowel, IEU, and CV syllables of Badaga, voice and voiceless, Pataka. Okay, with the different vowel combinations. Okay, in different vowel combinations, you can have pa pa pa, ta ta ta, t t t, combination of all that you can have it. And standardized sentences, oral and nasal sentences and passages. Okay, in most of our stimuli, if you see, we would have followed all these parameters: isolated vowel production, CV productions, and standard sentences will be available. And I want you to get your attention here is, see, it is not that you can, if you have a equipment, you can directly start using it. You cannot do that, because based on your language, you have to have your own sentences, oral sentences and nasal sentences. You need to develop it, and you need to establish a normative values for that particular, population where you are interested. Then after that, you can start using nasal ends or nasometry. Why I am insisting on this? Because our nasal end scores never can become 0. Even normal person can have some amount of nasal ends. Okay, that's why we need to establish some amount of nasal ends. Nasal end score can never be 0. Okay, either it is hypernasality or hyponasality, it will never come to 0 even for normal. So we need to have a normative value for a language whichever we are interested in. Okay, so if it is not there in your language, you have to develop a similar sentences, and you have to do and establish a normative. Then you can go ahead and you can do it. Okay, so again, in 2005, the ANCOMR have revised our stimuli based on the cue card. Okay, for example, this is freely available in the web. You can just go and have a look at it. For example, children, if they are not unable to read the text, we can just ask them to say, pick up a book. Okay, where you got a bilabial there, or pick up a cake, or pick up a tire. Pataka is, it's come, teddy, tortoise. Okay, go get a car. Okay, so all this target consonants are focused in this particular assessment. Okay, how they have done is, which is I have just depicted in English here, how this entire sentences will go, which is there in your left side. Similarly, how you have to do that subsist, and the normative scores for Western, that is Indian English. English, what is the normative they have? For it is 6 for norm, and SD is with 3. Similarly, for all other consonants, P, T key, and C and Z, what they have it. Okay, so similarly we have it for other languages also. As we move on to the other later of talk, I will just give you the normatives of other available languages. So if you are interested to have a protocol, want to develop a protocol for nasometric protocol, what you should have, or a resonant assessment, what you will have to look out for, or what you have to have your protocol should be basically on vowels. Okay, and the nasal sound and isolation we have to do, and we have to go for CV combinations. So if you see Pataka, Badaga, it is there. Okay, if you want to add, you can add E and U. Okay, as you are part of your assessment protocol, and your oral sentences and nasal sentences. Minimum we should have 5 oral sentences and nasal sentences, so that you get almost a good idea of all the consonants, pressure consonants, which are involved in the assessment of resonance or nasality. So what you are seeing in the current slide, how we see, if we record a stimuli, how do we get visual representation in our nasometric screen? Okay, so if you see the first one, for oral sentences, what we are seeing, this all called nasograms. Okay, based on our oral and nasal energy, it generates a waveform kind of a pattern, which is called nasogram. The first one, what you see, it's a snapshot of oral sentences. Okay, if you see the energies are there almost at the flatter down spectrum, what we have it here. Okay, in case of oral sentences, if you see, it is spread across all the windows you see. Okay, so this is how it will look like if you go for nasal sentences and oral sentences. In case of vowels and or production of vowels in persons with velopharyngeal dysfunctions, what you see here is I and E. Okay, usually it is come below in the screen. However, if you see it here, it is indicating a hypernasality. Okay, when you have to select, or because we would be recording a number of stimuli, you have to just select the area which you are interested. You can select. If you click statistics, it will give you the nasal and mean, minimum and maximum nasal and percentage. You will get it. Okay, analysis I just explained. After your recording, you have to place the cursor and you will get minimum, maximum and mean nasalence value. Okay, most of the time these nasalence value are depicted in percentage. So we get it in the percentage scores of nasalence, we get it. And I all previously itself I told we don't get a 0 nasalence scores. Okay, even normal person can have some amount of nasality. Okay, so we will never get 0 scores. I would want to give your attention on, there are some new concept which is called nasalence distance and nasalence ratio. Okay, it's a new thing which is usually used when we are doing a nasometric assessment. Okay, because to avoid some inter-subject variability and individual dependent variability, all that, or when we do some measurement variability, all that, when we do ND and NR, that is nasalence distance and nasalence ratio, we can overcome on all that. Okay, this nasalence distance is measured by maximum nasalence scores, subtract by minimum nasalence scores. Examples I have given. Similarly, nasalence ratios, minimum by maximum nasalence scores, if you get, you will get a nasalence ratio. Again, you need to have your normative for your language. Okay, it's just that you can have it for oral sentences, nasal sentences, vowels, CV combinations, all you can have nasal distance and nasalence ratio. After getting a nasalence scores, how do we usually interpret the nasalence scores? Okay, usually when we say if the scores are high, which is indicating hypernasality. Okay, if the scores are lower, typically it is typically it is giving information on hyponasality or denasality. Okay, so most of the time in some of clinic, what we see is children with normal or normal palatal functions, they do get sometime hyponasality. Okay, so which are denasality, which gives information when we do nasometry, it gives some information, especially when we handle patients with tonsils. Okay, this is I'm talking about with respect to normal client. Okay, but in case of cleft lip and palate, tonsils aids preventing in hypernasality. It aids the patient to have adequate velopharyngeal closure. Okay, so you might get a lower nasalence score, but either we have to see case by case basis when you go for interpretation. Okay, so just to understand and give you information how it can be analyzed is it is published as by the authors given. Okay, if the nasal score is 10% to 30%, you can call it as normal or borderline nasality. If it is going from 31% to 35%, it's mild hypernasality. When it goes to 36% to 45%, we can call it as moderate hypernasality. And greater than 45%, we can call it as severe nasality. Please, I just want to remind you this. This is scores which is done by the foreign authors, which is not applicable for our Indian scenario. Okay, Indian scenario might vary. For example, if you are considering the South Indian languages like Malayalam, if we take, the scores would be higher, but Malayalam itself, it's a more nasalized language. Our hypernasality scores, the nasalence score in on oral and nasal sentences would be higher. So we need to consider on all that when we are doing interpretation on language specific analysis. When you are going based on the language, we need to see some languages may have more nasal sounds present. Okay, so those things needs to be considered when we when we do interpretation of nasal and scores. So there are some factors which usually affects the nasal and scores. That I already told you, the language is very, very important. What native language we are speaking in, and what kind of dialect we speak, and gender difference is also there. Usually females have higher nasalence value when compared to males. Okay, and phonetic context also plays a role. For example, when I say phonetic context, whether vowel is present or before the consonant or after the consonant. So why? Because the high vowel E has more nasalence value when compared to other two vowels A and U. Okay, so all these things it plays a major role. But when you are constructing a stimuli, we need to consider all these things. What is the dialect and gender, native language, phonetic context, all those things you can, you have to consider, and you have to formulate your uh, um, stimuli preparation. When you're preparing your stimuli, you need to consider all these things. So when we talk about applications of nasometer, it is a valid tool when we are measuring, especially resonance in terms of quantitative measurements. When we go objective measurements, it gives a beautiful value when you do assess nasalence. Okay, it's not that most of the time the perceptual scores and our nasalence scores are in sync with, or it correlates most of the time when we do the objective measurement and perceptual measurements. Okay, it is an important tool. We cannot deny that it is not an important tool. The only thing is how we are using it. Okay, and also you can also see before the surgery, especially in children with cleft lip and palate, before the surgery and after the surgery, is there any impact of surgery in terms of the resonance? You can see in efficacy of therapeutic intervention in terms of children with CLB. Okay, it gives a beautiful reference for us, whether if somebody asks therapy is working with such children, we can say with evidence that it is working. Okay, there are some studies which I quoted, which is available and which is published. You can have look at it and you can go through when you have time. Okay, so apart from that, nasalence also used, apart from the assessment, it can also be used creating a normative data for the country like India. We have number of languages we have come across, and done only in few languages. Okay, there are other languages which need to be normative, needs to be established. Okay, and there are people are conducting many normative related data which is available on various stimuli. It is available. Only thing is we have to pick up and we have to use it based on our requirement. So these are some normative which is I am aware of, which is available in the form of publications. Okay, I'm just going to browse on the languages are different. English, Flemish, Spanish, we have it, Irish, Hungarian, Swedish, Uganda, English, Malay, Spanish. Okay, again in model also it makes a lot of difference what model they have used. It's 6200, 6450, and all those things play a major role in assessing nasometer. Okay, I'll move on to the Indian normators, what we have it. Okay, this is all Indian norms which is available for vowels, and for consonants what we have it. See, if you see the consonant vowel scores in Western normatives and Indian normatives, it is always on a higher side. Okay, because of there is a lot of cultural variation and phonetic variations in our language. Okay, this is for normative scores for Kannada in various syllable repetition tasks and oral sentences and nasal sentences. And nasal sentences for zoo passages also we have. Okay, we have it even for Malayalam speaking individuals. Malayalam language, you have oral words, nasal words, oral sentences, nasal sentences. Again, Kannada, Malayalam, Hindi also we have it. Okay, again, these all some tasks for nasal sentences where I told you we have to take values for nasal distance and nasal ratio also. So these all some data for nasal sentences. I think this is in Telugu. And this is a recent publication by Girish et al. At 2021 for Kannada language, Kannada and Malayalam language. This is a study done by Navya, where she has seen the mild CLP children only on different categories. The group 1 is a mild category, group 2 is moderate VPD category, and third one is normal children. Okay, if you see the scores, you will be able to see how it is varying from normal to mild category and moderate category. Okay, and this is again, it's a normative for cleft palate children. So if you want to use it for Kannada language, you can use it and we can compare and see. And again, these are some other countries where we have normatives are available. What is the subject, either it's children or adult, and all these things are available. And based on the surgical procedures, is there any improvement pre and post operatively nasometric scores? This is a study done by Dr. Nanavil on part of his thesis. Okay, again, there is a reduction in nasal score or hypernasality before the surgery and after the surgery. So we can as well tell the plastic surgeon, see, there is an improvement based on the surgery. So this will perform as baseline for us after the therapy what we give. If we do it, redo it again, it is before surgery, after surgery, immediately after surgery, and after the speech therapy. So we can have a comparison and we will get an information how it is improving. Okay. So we can also use nasometry for therapy also. Okay, there are some available inbuilt softwares in a nasometer for therapeutic purposes. Okay, there are 3 modules they have zoo passages using zoo. So if you can see a small owl's eyes here in the dark thing, okay, which is an indication that if there are more nasal energy is present, it will become dark and only you will be able to see the owl's eye open. Okay, if you go for more of oral sentences or more of oral energy or more of oral nasalence, it will become brighter and you'll be able to see the animals which is present in the zoo. Okay, and the moment there are no nasal energy, the owl eyes would be closing. Okay, which indirectly gives a visual feedback to children. Okay, to encourage them to speak in a normal oral nasalence. Yeah, thank you. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for sharing your time and for such an informative presentation. I believe the facts which you have illuminated it is very appreciating and be very beneficial for us as SLPs in our daily practice. We have some few questions, sir. So with your permission, that I can just say one by one.
Yeah.
So there is a question that in foreign, the nasal score is 10 to 30%, but the zoo passages doesn't have any nasalization.
Yeah.
So now if they don't use zoo passage, then what they use?
Okay. In foreign, the nasal score is 10 to 30%, but super just does not have any nasalization. Okay. See, it's not about nasalization. I think Rubal Sharma, right?
Yes,
yeah.
Sir.
Okay. See, that's why I said when we are using stimuli, stimuli is important. I told you zoo passage doesn't have a nasal stimuli at all. Okay, that means to say we are only our target is oral sentences or oral passage. Okay, oral sounds, all are oral sounds. If you are producing oral sounds and if you have a nasalization, that's itself an indication that there is a escape of air which is through velopharyngeal closure. Okay. That is why they use it. But what you have to see is, I think when we are now giving you information, even normal person cannot have zero nasalence. Okay, when we do how we speak, we do have some amount of that nasalence quality. Okay, so that's why we need to have normative value for different different languages.
Okay, thank you, sir.
I think that addresses questions, and the nasal score is different for every age group. If so, the Nasoland score for those or any studies, see, that's what it is not only for children and adults are available. Okay, but different age groups, it's not available. As far as I know, different age groups are not available. Yeah.
Okay, sir. So we have another question.
Yeah.
It's saying that do you have any Indian software with low cost to use in clinics?
Okay, there is a it is in the under development, one of the DST project from Aish. Okay, the designing phase is over. Okay, so it is in the testing phase which needs to be done. It's called Naso Speech. Probably once that's done, that would be available in the market. Okay, it's in the developmental phase.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah.
So we have another question that, sir, if you can please tell us about the mixed nasality and how do we identify and assess it in nasometry?
Okay, see, mixed nasality, when you say mixed nasality is combination of both. Okay. Okay, but when we are using nasometer, you should know for what you are assessing. Okay, for example, if you are having oral sentences and if you are getting scores, or you can say whether scores are, it is hypernasalized or hyponasalized. Okay, you cannot say you have both hyper and hypo mixed. You cannot have either. It is the scores are above the normal range or below the normal range. That is the only way you can assess using nasometer. Is that clear?
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah.
I would like to invite Mr. Indranil Chatterjee, sir, to deliver a token of appreciation to Dr. R.K. Kopishankar, sir. Indranil, sir, are you there?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. It is a very excellent presentation. Actually, this particular area is not well tackled. I think in the last 10 years, I have not seen any such of the topic is covered. But still, it is important in our syllabus, or also it is very, very clinically applicable tool. So just one question before concluding to Dr. Kopishankar, that is one particular question is, how do you think that LH ratio is similarly giving the specificity and sensitivity compared to the nasometric parameter?
LH, see, when you say LH ratio substitutions, again, it's like what you are interested in. Okay. If you want to target, again, the population, you are deciding based on the population you are doing. Okay. Either low or high, you are dividing what you want to target.
Yeah.
Generally, what we observed is any kind of population, it's based on your stimuli, what you are interested in. If your stimuli is fine, perfect, then you can target in any population. And definitely you have to maintain that ratio. Okay, low vowel and high vowel ratio, which is very, very important when you are doing nasal and stimuli preparation. Okay, and sensitivity and specificity of nasometric procedure, the scores are wonderfully, it will do. Okay, once you establish your normative, you don't have to worry about the sensitive and specificity issue at all. Okay, it beautifully gives whatever your perception you are correlating, you will get information on that.
No, there are some bombardments of parameters, but all these parameters are similarly sensitive, or should I cuddle all those parameters and some
No. That is why I said that SNAP revised version. Okay, you have to go for isolated vowel, you have to go for CV combinations, you have to go for oral and nasal. These are compulsory, must you should do. Okay, these are all 4 things you should have it in your protocol if you are going. Isolated vowel, CV combinations, oral and nasal sentences are, these 4 are must. You should have it in your protocol.
Okay. Another last question is that pressure consonants, if we check pressure consonants, if we have developed and published also in Bengali.
Okay.
And how it can be validated concurrently with the help of nasometric parameters.
Okay. You mean to say you already have the sentences?
We have this that pressure consonants, not sentences.
Okay.
These are the word level.
Okay, word level. See, that is what I said. No, you need to see. You cannot see only in one portion. Word we cannot use. Okay, because if you have to have normative in all the three: vowels, CV combinations, word, and sentences. You consider these four. You have a data on all these four.
Okay.
Okay, have all these four. Then it will give you a wonderful information on how they are performing in vowel, how they are performing vowel in CV combinations, how they are performing vowels in different pressure combinations in sentences. Energy is basically it's energy, right? Okay, so you get a beautiful information. So just have 30 patients if you are 30 individuals on these four. See, I know that the procedure is more. If you ask them to do all the four, minimum it will take 20 minutes for recording. But it is worth spending 20 minutes.
Okay. Yeah. Actually, some software also giving that nasal spectrum is differently and oral spectrum differently.
Yeah,
And
it is
also spectral tilts are also there.
Yeah, that is all. It's their product, and they want to say, show differently, for their approval and other things. So that is design perspective. Otherwise, they cannot have different products.
Yes,
They
yes.
have to have it's for their product to come out. That's why if you see Pentax product and nasal view, that is doctor speech product, this output software would be different.
Okay, hope we we will get the ICE developed software that is the indigenous tool of Indian product very soon. That will be our dream actually.
Yeah.
That Indian product should come.
Yes, we are also hoping for that because it is there in the testing phase. We are hoping that we would be getting it.
Yes. Congratulations, Gopi. So I congratulate Dr. Gopi Shankar for this excellent talk. Any questions are there, Shalini? Do you have any questions remaining?
Sir, we have another question in the chat box.
Yeah.
That is, so it's saying that what is the minimum and maximum age recommended in using Nasometer, and do you have any standards over ages?
Okay, see, minimum and only thing is the child has to repeat whatever you are asking them to do. Okay. As such, there is no minimum and maximum age range. If the child is able to repeat whatever the stimuli you are interested to record or interested to analyze, you can go ahead and do. As far as I know, 4 years they are able to repeat the sentences. So you can start with 4 years.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Sir, as I see, there are no more questions, but if anybody have any questions, they are very welcome. Please drop your question in the chat box or we can discuss it.
Yeah.
Any more questions from the audiences?
So if there is no question, so I congratulate for this excellent presentation, Dr. Gopi Shankar, and the team the Auditivo and also the K-Pentax who are there for this particular promotions, because the method, the agenda what we are using on behalf of SciWB, that is the industry and the scientific collaborations. And I again congratulate Dr. Gopi Shankar for the excellent presentation and elucidations. It gives us different dimensions to understand this nasometer, because we have the both in Kolkata, nasometry as well as the nasal view.
Yeah.
So hope in Bengali we will do some different work, Bengali, Hindi and Oriya and other northeastern languages. And definitely I will take help from you if required, because that expertise is needed.
Yeah.
And thank you very much.
Yeah,
and
yeah, thank you so much for that is the area which requires a lot of research, that western part of that country. That side it's not there. That's definitely require attention on this.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
So in this particular note, I just conclude that our next presentations will be the next Sunday. That is on the topic on the recent advancement is the vestibular rehabilitation pedagogies by Dr. Srinivas Dorasala sir. We will send the link, everything. So thank you all the participants and all the members senior members and teachers all are there in this particular webinar, and also Dr. Gopi Shankar. Thank you all.
Thank you so much.